We're going to be moving on to our third and final demo, but before we do, once again, we want to be extra cautious. We want to discharge our capacitors, make sure there's no lingering sparks.
In a second, you will see a tiny spark. It may look small, but it's actually 10,000 volts. In the third demonstration, instead of having the two energy storage capacitors directly connected to each other, we've inserted a xenon flash tube. That enables us to see the currents passing into the capacitors and then the energy leaving the capacitors. The balls are no longer in contact with the transformer. Instead, a small space is set with a gauge. This creates a secondary gap, enabling higher voltages to develop across the primary gap. It's a combination of the use of these gaps, essentially used as switches, which permit the capacitors to come up to a higher potential. We see the xenon tube flash as the energy stored in the capacitors is released.
So now we're actually going to take our clips and take them off of the capacitors. We're going to be clipping them to our xenon tube. Now we're going to actually slide the capacitors back a little bit. And we're going to be using this gauge to kind of get the exact gap that we want.
In this demo, the gap is important because it increases the voltage to the xenon tube.
Alright, so now we're ready to do the third experiment, which is going to light up our xenon tube. And for our third and final demo, we're going to be setting our variac back up to 120 volts. Turn on the switch, we'll slowly lift.
Each time the xenon tube flashes, this is the capacitors charging and discharging. Because of the intense white light produced by the xenon tube, they are used in IMAX, movie projectors, as well as searchlights.
Alright everyone, thanks for watching. This was our AC Resonator, one of our high voltage demos. Thanks.